Welcome back to your own Reviews channel, where we review and break down movies in shorter time frame possible. In this video we will review a comedy, action movie from year 1995 named Friday. Let's begin. On Friday in South Central Los Angeles, Craig was fired from his job after being accused of stealing packages on camera, despite his claims of innocence. To make matters worse, his father, Mr. Jones, pressures him to become a dog catcher or face being kicked out. Craig is interested in his neighbor Debbie, but his jealous girlfriend Joy stands in the way. Meanwhile, Craig's friend Smokey is in trouble for smoking marijuana meant for Big Worm, a dangerous drug dealer. Throughout the day, various individuals come and go in the neighborhood. Among them is Izzle, a crackhead and petty thief who always seems to be up to something. Felicia, Debbie's sister, is another regular presence. She is unkempt and constantly mooching off others, perpetually caught up in her crack addiction. Pastor Clever, a lascivious figure, engages in a brief affair with Mrs. Parker, a sultry parishioner. However, their rendezvous is abruptly interrupted by Mrs. Parker's infuriated dwarf husband. Additionally, there is Red, a package delivery driver who used to work with Craig. Unfortunately, Red's stolen bicycle and black eye are the result of encounters with the neighborhood bully, Debo. Speaking of Debo, he and Smokey break into the house of Stanley, Craig's next-door neighbor, and make off with $200, which Debo selfishly keeps for himself. Big Worm drives around the neighborhood in his ice cream truck, stopping to collect money from Smokey. Despite being upset with Smokey, Craig decides to assist him. Craig's initial plan is to ask his girlfriend, Joy, for the money, but his encounter with Felicia ruins his chances. Craig and Smokey have a serious conversation because Smokey fails to grasp the seriousness of Big Worm's threat. Craig goes inside his house to retrieve the gun he purchased, but his father eventually discovers his plan. His father advises him to use his hands instead of guns to solve his problems, sharing the tragic story of Mr. Jones' brother who lost his life to gun violence. Craig contemplates this advice and eventually returns outside. There, Smokey engages in a marijuana transaction with Hector, but only after Craig reminds him of the high stakes involved. Suddenly, Debo reappears and harasses both Smokey and Red, snatching Red's chain. Later on, the two friends devise a plan to obtain Big Worm's money. Just then, Rita, from Dana, but she refuses and informs their father about Big Worm's threat. He then attempts to borrow money from his mother, but she is hesitant to lend him anything since he recently lost his job. Furious over Debbie's deception, Smokey storms over to her house to confront her. However, he quickly notices Red's bike on the front lawn and questions why Debo is there. Debbie reveals that Debo is asleep with Felicia. Smokey seizes this opportunity and sneaks into Felicia's room, hoping to retrieve the money he and Debo stole from Stanley's house earlier. Unfortunately, his plan is foiled when Izzle unintentionally wakes Debo up, forcing both men to flee empty-handed. Determined to try again, Smokey enlists Craig's help, but their efforts are interrupted by Debo riding past them on Red's bike. Frustrated by their string of bad luck, Smokey contemplates giving up. However, before they can return home, Lil Chris attempts to scare and taunt them by speeding away on his bike. Smokey, seeking revenge for the times their trash cans were knocked over, lashes out and whips Lil Chris with a belt. The pair spots a black car approaching slowly and immediately hides, fearing a potential drive-by shooting. Terrified, they retreat to Craig's room for an hour, attempting to contact Big Worm. As their paranoia grows, Smokey tries one last time to reach the dealer, only to be interrupted by Mr. Jones, who was alerted by Dana about the situation. After Mr. Jones ushers them out, they decide to brave the situation and head back outside to show they are not afraid. Once outdoors, they spot a van parked in the street with its headlights off, Big Worm's men, who open fire on them. In a panic, the duo runs away and seeks refuge in the bed of a truck to stay safe. Craig's parents and neighbors emerge from their homes upon hearing the gunshots, with Dana anxiously inquiring about her brother and Smokey. Debbie then stands up to Debo for attacking Felicia, who Debo wrongly accuses of Smokey's alleged theft. Debo ends up assaulting Debbie, just as Craig and Smokey return. Debo's assault on Debbie angers Craig, prompting him to confront Debo and threaten him with his gun. However, Debo dismisses the threat, and Mr. Jones advises Craig to put down the gun and engage in a physical fight. Eventually, Craig manages to defeat Debo by utilizing various objects as weapons, like a brick and a trash can, knocking him down. While Debbie tends to Craig, Smokey seizes the opportunity to reclaim his stolen money and escapes. Red ensures Debo remains unconscious by delivering a punch, and retrieves his stolen chain and bicycle, while Ezel takes Debo's shoes. Craig and Debbie agree to meet the next day, and Craig ends his relationship with Joy over the phone. You know how it is, man. Here the movie ends. If you like this video, please hit like, share it with your mates and subscribe my channel.